There are days when the body simply won't get up. The mind is awake, but the spirit seems stuck. You stare at the ceiling, take a deep breath, and the only desire is to stay there, motionless. It's not laziness. It's not weakness. It's exhaustion. An exhaustion that doesn't come from the physical, but from the soul. And no one but God understands. You have been carrying battles that no one sees, holding back tears in places where you need to smile, trying to be strong when everything inside you has already crumbled. And yet, you are here. You pressed play on this video. And just that shows me one thing. You are chosen. Because only the chosen continue, even when everything screams to give up. This bed you are in right now may not just be for rest. It may have become your battlefield, your silent altar. It is there that you have cried without sound, thought without answers, and even without strength. You have not abandoned your faith. You are just tired. And that's okay. You are not less spiritual for feeling this way. You are human. And God understands this more than anyone. You don't have to get up now, nor pretend to have strength that you do not have. But you need to know, God is there, exactly where you are. He doesn't wait for you to clean up before showing up. He sits by your side in the chaos. He has not abandoned you. He is in the silence. And this pain will not last forever. Maybe you think you have failed, that you have lost your way, that no one else sees you. But the entire heaven is attentive to your tired breathing, because your endurance, even fragile, is still power. It is still faith. It is still a battle won, and hell fears that. You are dangerous, even when tired. You carry something that even exhaustion cannot erase. This video is not a common motivational message. There are no cliches here. There is truth, living word, a word for those who are on the edge. And if you stay with me until the end, I promise, your soul will understand that it is not alone, that all of this has a purpose, that even this moment is anointed. If this message has already spoken to you so far, don't forget to follow this channel. But don't follow on impulse. Follow because you understood. This is a place of living word. A word from those who also bleed but do not stop. A word for the chosen who stand firm, even when everything wants them to stay in bed. There are times when the world outside of you seems calm, but inside, everything is noisy. A racing heart, scrambled thoughts, confused emotions. Those who see from the outside cannot imagine the effort it takes just to be. Only you know how much it costs to keep yourself whole inside while everything tries to break you apart. There are days when you don't need to hear anyone shouting at you, because the scream is already inside. It has no sound, but it weighs. It has no form, but it tightens your chest. Anxiety arrives before coffee. Sadness covers you before the sheets. And the fear of the day reaches you before the alarm clock goes off. And that's when many believe that God has gone away. Because you no longer feel what you used to feel before. Faith seems far away. Prayer feels dry. And the present seems to have disappeared. You look around and everything seems empty. But this is the part that misleads the most. God hasn't gone away. He is closer than ever. He doesn't withdraw when you are confused. He doesn't disappear when you stop praying like you used to. He doesn't hide because you cried last night or left the Bible closed for days. His love is not based on your performance. He is not a spiritual boss. He is Father. And fathers don't abandon tired children. God's presence is silent in the moments you doubt it the most. It doesn't come with lights or effects. Sometimes it's in you simply breathing, in still existing, in continuing to try, even without knowing how. God's presence is resistance without explanation. It's peace that doesn't make sense. It's invisible sustenance. God doesn't show up only when you are strong, singing, and full of energy. He is exactly where you think you are failing, in your struggle against fear, in your effort to carry on, in your desire not to give up, even without energy. He doesn't wait for your victory. He walks with you even on the battlefield floor. The biggest lie that spiritual exhaustion tells is that God has gone away. But in truth, it is in the deepest silence that He speaks most clearly, not with audible words, but with signs, with sustenance, with mercies that are renewed while you sleep, even without deserving. He is there, and that's all you need right now. You may not be able to get up today. You may not have the strength to praise. You may not even remember exactly the last verse you read. But God knows you. He reads your silences. He understands your pauses. He translates your sighs as prayers. And He knows you haven't stopped because you no longer believe, but because you are trying to hold on to the little that's left. This is not weakness. This is a profound form of faith, because believing when everything is fine is easy. But continuing to believe while everything crumbles requires courage. And that is exactly what you are showing, even without realizing it. You are not in sin. You are in process. And God has never distanced Himself from a sincere heart. If the only thing you can do today is to continue lying down, but with your heart saying, God, I am still here, that is already enough. You don't have to prove anything to anyone, nor rush, nor feel guilty. Just continue. This moment does not define your journey. It only shows how real you are. And no matter how silent everything seems, remember, heaven continues to move. The love of God does not pause on your bad days, and your story is still being written, even between tears, pillows, and thoughts that no one sees. There are days when you wake up, but feel like you are still stuck. The body is there, but the soul seems distant. Everything outside of you is quiet, but inside it feels like a storm is happening. It's even hard to explain, and harder still to understand why everything became so heavy without warning. You try to get out of bed, but it feels like the mattress has turned to concrete. The heart seems tired of feeling, the mind tired of thinking. You wanted to scream, but you have no strength left. You wanted to run away, but there's nowhere to go. And the most frightening thing is that no one notices. On the outside, you still look whole. Only you know the war you are fighting within yourself. Anxiety, racing thoughts, painful memories, too many responsibilities. All of this even before the day begins. It's not drama, it's not fuss, it's real. And that's why God chose this moment to speak to you, because He knows you inside out. God doesn't wait for you to be well to meet you. He doesn't schedule an appointment to visit you. He arrives in the midst of chaos, enters into the silence, sits beside you without making a sound. And even if you don't realize it, He is already there. Because the presence of God doesn't depend on your strength but on His promise. In your darkest days, He continues to be light. Even when you feel nothing, He continues to be everything. He does not abandon tired children. He does not turn His back on those who are at their limit. God is not offended by your pain. He understands the weary soul. He knows the spiritual exhaustion that no one sees. You may not be able to pray. You might not remember the last time you felt His presence. But God is still with you. Because He doesn't love you for what you do. He loves you for who you are. And you are chosen, even when beaten down, even when broken, even when out of strength. Many think that faith is measured by beautiful words and loud praises. But there is a faith that is proven in silence, in the hidden tear, in the simple act of breathing and quietly saying, God, I am still here. That is faith. That is resilience. That is spiritual. and that is seen by heaven. Don't blame yourself for not being well. Don't compare yourself to those who seem to always be strong. Every chosen one has their invisible battles. Every spiritual warrior has also had days when they couldn't get up. Elijah, a prophet used by God, also wanted to give up. Jesus wept in Gethsemane. Pain is not a sign of weakness. It is part of the journey. The truth is that your sensitivity is not a defect. It is a lens. You feel too much because you are called to carry great things. Your heart perceives what many ignore. And that is tiring. But it also connects you to God in a unique way. Because He formed you this way, with purpose, with intention. This silence that is suffocating you right now, it is not empty. It is space. It is preparation. God is not far away. He is working in the dark. You just cannot see it yet. But you will see. This desert is not the end. It is a passage. And those who cross the desert with a torn heart truly find God. Without filters, without performance. If today is the day when all you can do is continue breathing, no, that is already courage. That is already faith. And heaven is watching. God is with you right there, in that room, on that wet pillow, in that silence that seems more like a scream. You have not been forgotten. You are being cared for. There are moments when the only thing you want to do is to pull away, to silence everything, to hide. You don't want to respond to messages. You don't want to see anyone. You don't want to explain how you're feeling. And that's when isolation appears, not as a choice, but as protection. You are just trying to keep yourself whole. The problem is that in this silence comes the most dangerous lie, that you are alone, that no one cares, that even God is no longer near. But that is not true. The fact that you are silent does not mean that God has distanced Himself. Your silence doesn't scare Him. He understands. You may have distanced yourself from people, but God doesn't need an invitation to come in. He is already there. He doesn't wait for applause or beautiful words. He is not offended by your exhaustion, nor by your pain. What you call distancing, He calls an intimate moment, a sacred space, a place just between the two of you. The greatest men and women of God also went through moments like this. Elijah, after great deeds, isolated himself in a cave, wanting to give up. Jeremiah cried and felt rejected. Even Jesus, in Gethsemane, felt deep pain, sweating drops of blood. If even the Son of God was anguished, who are we to not feel the same? If you have been crying alone, God has been wiping every tear. If you have been silent, God has been listening to every thought. Heaven doesn't need noise to move. The presence of God does not depend on your performance. It depends on His faithfulness. And He is faithful even when you are on the ground. Don't blame yourself for needing some time. What you call weakness may actually be treatment. There are pains that can only heal in silence. There are processes that can only be experienced in hiding. Isolation is often not punishment. It is construction. It is God restoring you, away from the noise, away from the demands. You are not wrong for feeling this way. You are not astray. You are not spiritually weak. You are simply going through a valley. And in the valley, God reveals Himself in ways that the mountaintop does not allow. In the valley, you learn that He is not only in the fire or in the wind, but also in the whisper. Maybe you are waiting for a grand sign, but the greatest sign is already there. You are still breathing. You are still seeking. You are still listening to these words. And this only confirms that God is still calling you. He still walks with you. He still holds your hand, even when it is loose, trembling with pain. There are moments when heaven seems closed, but that doesn't mean absence. It means care. God doesn't shout to make Himself known. He remains, he stays, he dwells. And the simple fact that you are silent does not make him withdraw. On the contrary, it is in this space that he ministers the most healing. If today you couldn't leave the house, or only managed to stay quiet in your room, that is not defeat. It is process, it is a phase, it is survival. And soon this too will pass. And when it does, you will realize that you were never alone. That while you thought you were standing still, God was remaking you from within. You have not lost connection with God. Silence has not broken the relationship. It has only changed the tone of the conversation. And sometimes, the greatest proof of faith is not preaching to crowds. It is continuing to breathe in the dark. It is continuing to believe, even in isolation. That is also faith. And you have been showing that every day. There are people who feel the world with their eyes, others with their ears. But you feel with your heart. The environment changes, and you feel it. The unspoken words weigh on you, the pain of others, even when silent, pierces you. You try not to absorb it. You try to protect yourself. But it seems that everything hits you harder. This has never been a defect. It has never been exaggeration. It has never been weakness. It is sensitivity, and not the kind that the world labels as drama, but spiritual sensitivity, a perception beyond the natural, a way to discern invisible realities. You feel what others ignore. You perceive what many do not see. And this carries purpose. God did not make a mistake in making you this way. He did not exaggerate the emotional weight. He did not leave you fragile by mistake. He formed you with care. He shaped you with detail. Your sensitivity has a function, to intercede for pains that others cannot express. You feel to transform. You feel to act. You feel to comfort. That's why certain places drain you. That's why crowds wear you out. That's why many times you need silence and solitude. It is not isolation. It is recovery. You expend spiritual energy just by being present. Because you are at war, even in ordinary moments. Your soul reads everything all the time. Do not be ashamed of crying easily. Do not feel lesser for being moved in the face of others' suffering. There is an anointing in this brokenness, a rare anointing. God chose to use your sensitivity as a tool. While others pass by, you feel, and when you feel, you pray. When you pray, heaven moves. Perhaps your life has been marked by people who said you were exaggerated, that you took everything too seriously, that you needed to harden up. But God never wanted to harden you. He wants to refine you. The world tries to turn the sensitive into hardened individuals. God turns the sensitive into instruments. Because only those who feel, heal. The pain you carry is not just yours. Many times, it is spiritual. It is discernment. You feel the oppression of the environment. You carry the weight of invisible battles. But that is not punishment. It is honor. Only those who are called feel. Only those who can bear it, carry it. And you have been equipped for this, even if you don't realize it yet. There are days when this sensitivity will hurt. It will exhaust you. It will make you want to close yourself off. And that is okay. You can care for yourself too. You can retreat. You can recharge. But never hide this gift. Never try to adapt to the standard of those who feel nothing. Your difference is your weapon. You have been anointed with sensitivity to feel when heaven is moving, to perceive when a soul is about to break, to see beyond behavior, to hear beyond words. Your sensitivity is a spiritual radar, and that is why the enemy tries to make you doubt it. When you believe it is weakness, you start to silence yourself, to retract, to hide. But God is calling you back to your essence, reminding you that what makes you different is exactly what makes you powerful. What weighs on you today will become a bridge to heal others tomorrow. Continue feeling, continue crying, continue perceiving. God needs people like that. People who have not hardened in the face of pain. People who still care, who still bend down, who still stop to listen. That is rare, and heaven moves through that. Do not bury the gift that connects you to the heart of God. The enemy does not fear screams. He fears whispers of faith amidst tears. He does not tremble when you are strong. He trembles when you are broken but still kneel, when you are tired but still pray, when you don't understand but still believe, because that shows who you truly are. Even in pieces, you carry authority. Not because everything is well, but because even when everything is wrong, you continue. You continue talking to God. You continue loving. You continue believing. And this continuity, this faithfulness amidst chaos, is a sound that hell cannot endure. You may not realize it, but every time you decide to stand up, even without will, you step into the enemy's territory with authority. Every whispered prayer, every verse read with tears, every decision not to give in, all of this has weight in the spiritual world. You may not see it, but all of heaven moves with that. You are dangerous. Not because you shout loudly, but because you survive the silence. Because you know pain and do not become bitter. Because you get beaten and do not lose faith. Because even when discredited by others, you still carry the presence. The enemy tries to silence you, but your existence is already a shout. Perhaps you think, but I am not strong. And indeed, you don't need to be. Because the power of God is perfected in weakness. He is not looking for armored warriors. He is raising up the wounded who still walk, those who, even limping, still follow. And you are one of them. You are still here. And that is already victory. Every time you return, even after falling, you are showing hell that nothing can extinguish you. Not pain, not rejection, not fear. You return, not because everything is improved, but because you know who called you. You rise, not because you are whole, but because you know you have purpose. Your return has weight, because those who return with scars come back with experience. Those who return after pain come back with authority. Those who return after war come back with a voice. You are not the same as before. You are not weak because you fell. You are dangerous because you returned. And that changes everything. There is something in you that even darkness could not touch. There is something that God preserved at the depths of your soul, even on your worst days. And that is what He is activating now. That hidden strength, that silent faith, that flame that never went out. It is inside you, and it will reignite, no matter how much you stumble when getting up. What matters is that you are standing. God does not expect perfection. He honors willingness. He sustains those who decide to rise. And if today you are returning, even if hurt, heaven celebrates. Because you are returning with more truth, more weight, more anointing. Hell does not fear those who have never fallen. Hell fears those who fell, faced pain, passed through silence, walked through the valley, and still returned. Those who come back after chaos come back with spiritual authority that cannot be learned in books. Come back with an anointing that is only forged in pain. You are coming back, and that is disturbing the darkness. You are saying with your own life, it's not over yet. And that has more impact than 1,000 sermons. Your journey is still alive. Your mission is still standing. And nothing that has happened has been able to extinguish you. You are light amid the war. If today all you managed to do was take a deep breath and silently say, "Lord, I'm here," that is already enough. It might not seem like it, I know. But in the eyes of God, this simple gesture is a shout of faith. Because only those who have gone through pain know what it costs to keep existing when everything tells you to stop. You survived what seemed to be the end. You have faced thoughts you never shared with anyone. You have held back tears that almost swallowed you whole. You have thought about giving up, but you stayed. You have wanted to disappear, but you decided to show up for another day. And that makes you someone whom heaven honors and hell fears. That bed where you spent hours, perhaps days, was not your prison. It was your altar. It was there that your soul was treated in silence. It was there that God saw you in your rawest, most vulnerable, most sincere form. And what the world calls weakness, heaven calls seed. A seed of something new that is being born. The silence you experienced was a cocoon, not abandonment. And every cocoon, no matter how dark and lonely it is, prepares something the world has yet to see. You are not returning the same. You are coming back more sensitive, stronger, more aware of what you carry. You are returning with marks, yes, but also with authority. Rise up, even if it is slowly, even if it still hurts, even without understanding everything. Rise up because there is a purpose calling you, a mission that only you can fulfill. And even if the world does not see it, God sees it, and He continues to bet on you. Declare with faith, I choose to rise. Let heaven hear. Let hell tremble. Let your heart never forget, you are chosen, and you are just beginning.